3 months earlier, James and Sophia were talking about moving. They were moving furniture when their friend Barry was invited over for dinner to thank him for his help. But just as they were about to have fun, they got a phone call. James received some sad news. His father had passed away. They quickly moved into James's father's house. The next morning, James went to work, leaving his loving wife at home. She gave him a gift that made him very happy. Meanwhile, Sophia went to the kitchen where Rose offered to make coffee. Sophia declined and left after making some notes. Rose then offered to make lunch, but Sophia wasn't hungry. She suggested Rose take the day off. James had taken over his father's company, but he was worried about handling a new big project. His assistant assured him they would manage together. Sophia didn't want Rose to take the day off. Sophia asked Rose if she had dreamed of being something else as a child. It turned out Rose was happy with her job and wanted to keep working. Sophia mentioned she wasn't used to living in a fancy house, so she did everything herself. When James returned home, Sophia confessed that she had let go of all the staff, which surprised him. She had given them severance pay and let them go home to their families. Now that they had money, they discussed how to live in their mansion without anyone watching. They could do whatever they wanted. They decided to experience life like rich people and learn about family life. The next morning, James talked to his investors about a new project, but not everyone agreed. Sophia called for help with the lawnmower, which angered James. He promised to help after work. While fixing the lawnmower, James got upset about having to do it himself since Sophia had fired all the help. She admitted she couldn't get used to the new house, but still didn't want to bring back the servants. James convinces Sophia to get used to their new lifestyle before it's too late. He tells his assistants that he's struggling to manage the new company by himself, but he's determined to make his father's business succeed, even though Sophia has given him a lot of housework since she fired all the servants. Despite this, he's confident he can handle it. His assistant suggests a solution that Sophia might like. It turns out James's father was approached by a promising company with new technologies. They come in the next morning to learn more. A scientist named Julian shows them special robots that look and act like real people. These bots are designed to fulfill every need of their owners. Sophia engages in conversation with one of the robots, curious about their purpose. While James talks about the prospects, Sophia remains hesitant. Eventually, they decide to take one named Henry. The owner demonstrates Henry's obedience, showing that the robot is willing to do anything they ask. They receive instructions on how to use him. Back at home, Henry makes breakfast and they start to bond. However, Sophia feels uncomfortable again, especially when she finds a note Henry wrote in the kitchen. Despite her reservations, James insists she give tasks to the robot, starting with mowing the lawn. After a shower, Sophia is surprised to find Henry in the bedroom, catching her off guard. She immediately tells James, but he brushes it off, suggesting they discuss it later. James talks to his assistant, Roland, who delivers bad news. The company is facing heavy losses. That night, James wants to play with Henry, but Sophia thinks it's a bad idea since the robot is charging. James offers to play instead, but Sophia declines, and James decides to act as the robot. Before they start, Henry specifies the difficulty level and they begin playing. During the game, James starts losing and accidentally exclaims God. This prompts Henry to question James about his belief in God, to which James responds by asking Henry if he believes in God. Henry replies that he believes in his creator, which gives him confidence in the future. The next morning, Sophia asks about the game, pleased to find that Henry understood their conversation. After saying goodbye to James, Sophia, and Henry, James heads off to work. Later, Sophia and the robot start fixing the couch and have a conversation about dreams. Sophia realizes that Henry, the robot, doesn't dream. During dinner, James announces that he's invited guests for the weekend, friends of his late father. Sophia isn't thrilled because the house isn't ready. While James is at work, Sophia and Henry do chores around the house. Sophia gives Henry a book to read. When James returns, he and Henry start working on restoring an old car. James asks Sophia to buy a part on the way to town. As they continue communicating, James realizes that Henry is a quick learner and can draw conclusions about his surroundings. It turns out Henry is quite insightful, and James enjoys discussing love and fears with him. Henry admits that he fears being replaced by a newer model when he becomes obsolete. Sophia discusses the book with Henry over wine, wondering where the wine disappears to. Later, when guests arrive, they're impressed with Henry, especially when he serves food and quotes famous thinkers. During dinner, everyone talks about the robot. Afterward, James and Sophia relax and discuss life together. They start discussing a book that Sophia gave James, relating its themes to their lives. Sophia shares her thoughts on the main character's struggles to realize his plans and satisfy his beloved. As they converse, Henry observes and expands their views. They talk about passion, and Sophia begins to feel something for Henry. She asks if he understands passion and gets an unexpected answer. Henry can imitate passion and offers to do so. However, James forbids it. One night, Sophia hears sounds in the house and finds Henry undressed on the lawn. Confused, Henry tells her he had a dream where he was a normal person. They return to the house where James sees them. Sophia explains the situation, and James catches Henry as he stumbles. The next morning, Julian, the technician, diagnoses Henry and finds a small malfunction. Sophia reports that Henry had been dreaming. Julian reminds them that Henry is programmed to please his masters and not to develop emotions too quickly. The couple argues about who's to blame for the glitch. Afterward, James goes to take a shower, and Henry brings him a towel. James reminds Henry that he's just a robot and orders him to get a razor and cream to shave him. He then compares Henry to an electric razor, highlighting their similarities. James explains that Henry is advanced technology but not a living person yet. In the evening, Roland gives James bad news. Their company is a month behind schedule. James finds a letter from his wife supporting him, and he sees a couch they made together. Entering the bedroom, Sophia joins James on the bed. He suggests making love, but she's too tired. In the morning, James learns another contract fell through, and no one accepts his apology. At home, Sophia and Henry decide to relax with a massage. The robot starts kissing Sophia, and she enjoys it, getting aroused. She can't resist, and Henry climbs on top of her. Suddenly, James wakes Sophia, and the pleasant moment was just a dream. The couple discusses moving and doubts their decision. Sophia feels more positive about it now. They plan for the future in bed, quoting Henry. James leaves for work, and Sophia continues fantasizing about Henry. She imagines what could have happened next in her dream, unable to stop her fantasies. Glancing at the door, Sophia realizes Henry was watching. She asks him to make breakfast. By the pole, James sees them laughing and grows concerned. He confides in Julian, worried Henry might ruin his marriage. Julian assures him that the robot is incapable of love. James considers trading Henry but decides against it as Sophia would hate it. Julian explains that the robot only adapts to its masters and should be treated as a machine. James tells Henry to stop flirting with his wife. Henry clarifies he's programmed to fulfill all masters' wishes. Angry and unable to comprehend, James blames Henry for their fading love. The robot reports that Sophia expects more from James. Henry is sent away and forbidden from studying with Sophia. Henry tells Sophia about the plan, and she disagrees. They argue, and Sophia decides to leave for a couple of days to clear her mind. James and Henry play racquetball, and Henry wins, upsetting James. They discuss life, and Henry reveals he's James's secret tool, available for any purpose. The next morning, James isn't sure if the previous night was a dream or reality. Henry prepares breakfast, but James avoids asking about what happened last night, leaving things awkward. Things improve at work, and James learns about a big contract with a Chinese firm. His colleagues appreciate his efforts, and their relationship improves. James calls Sophia, suggesting they go away for the weekend, but their conversation is interrupted. Now Sophia is certain James is still at work. She decides to fulfill her dream of having a massage with Henry's help. He kisses her and confesses his love, startling her. She asks him to leave and goes to smoke, which angers James when he arrives. Sophia tells him about Henry's kiss, leading to another argument. James insists the robot only acts on its master's desires, implying Sophia wanted it. He pinches Henry and shuts down the station while it's charging. In the morning, they await Julian's arrival. Henry enters Sophia's room, realizing they want to deactivate him because of the kiss. He regrets his actions and asks to stay until Sophia talks to James. It turns out Henry and James had a close encounter in reality. Sophia realizes this and meets Julian outside, instructing him to deactivate Henry. Julian goes to Henry's room, where Henry reveals Julian's deceit. The couple discusses their situation and regrets their actions. James admits he was tempted because Henry seemed indifferent. The aide informs them that Henry called numerous times. They rush home to confront the situation. They start looking for Henry and find him standing in the woods. They ask about Julian, and Henry says he's left his car behind. Henry warns he hasn't been to the charging station in a while and could run out of power soon. They agree to talk outside. Unexpectedly, they find another lost robot. Julian's fraud is exposed. His robots are real people. The police start searching for Julian. Suddenly, Julian appears and shoots the police. He reveals Henry's origins. He was once a real boy Julian found and raised before being shot himself. Henry fights back and disarms Julian. He then leaves, seeking to experience life. The couple regrets what happened but feels helpless. 5 years later, the family is in the park with their son named Henry.